Welcome to Iraqi Dinar News, your dedicated source for tracking the evolving landscape of the Iraqi dinar and Vietnamese dong. If you've been closely following developments in these markets, today's update delivers insight that could mark a pivotal moment. With whispers of a heightened exchange window and impressive rate fluctuations stirring conversations across the globe, it might be time to pay closer attention. Let's unpack what's really unfolding behind the curtain. Not long ago, Iraq's Minister of Transport led a pivotal session with representatives from the global consulting firm Oliver Wyman. The agenda? Strategic coordination on the Development Road Project, a crucial infrastructure initiative. The meeting took place inside the General Company for Iraqi Railways headquarters and zeroed in on enhancing synergy between the project's leadership team and the National Rail Agency. Contrary to narratives of inactivity, Iraq is moving steadily forward with significant groundwork on modernization and logistics. All of our insights stem from credible institutional sources, including the Central Bank of Iraq, the Ministry of Finance, the International Monetary Fund, the World Trade Organization, and the Bank for International Settlements. While some visuals may still show half-built structures or dusty roads, that doesn't reflect the behind-the-scenes momentum. Beneath the surface, meaningful reforms and financial maneuvers are in motion. Let's turn to a topic that generates equal parts curiosity and confusion: currency redenomination. Specifically, Iraq's move to eliminate 3 zeros from the dinar. This is far more than a redesign. It plays a central role in reshaping economic calculations, especially in how financial transactions are processed, both within and beyond Iraq's borders. Inside the country, removing 3 zeros would transform the face value of items, though not their real cost. For instance, if a loaf of bread is currently priced at 1,000 dinars, it could be relabeled as 1 dinar after redenomination, yet retain the same value. It's a streamlined approach designed to simplify bookkeeping and improve public confidence, aligning the nation's currency practices with those recognized internationally. Outside of Iraq, the framework shifts. A dinar holder in the US, for example, wouldn't see their 1 million dinars suddenly reduced in value. If the market rate stands at $3.00 per 1,000 dinars, their holdings would still equate to $3,000.00, as that rate governs the exchange, not the visual denomination. This is an area where many become misled, assuming redenomination equates to higher returns abroad. But it's not about added wealth. It's about clarity and usability within Iraq's domestic financial system. Misinterpretations in this area can be costly. As Mr. Sami recently pointed out, the real meaning behind deleting zeros depends heavily on your geographic position. Articles on this topic are often read through the lens of overseas investors hoping for instant gains. However, that's not how monetary policy works. If you're outside Iraq, your priority should remain locked on market exchange rates, not the logistics of local banking reform. Meanwhile, diplomatic activity is accelerating. Prime Minister Soudani, the Finance Ministry, CBI Governor Ali Alak, and top-tier advisors have been holding rapid-fire meetings with officials from Turkey, Jordan, Egypt, the United States, and even Iran. These aren't casual photo ops. They reflect a calculated regional strategy aimed at economic convergence. The timeline is tight, and deliberately so. Iraq appears to be aligning itself with broader regional economic frameworks. This includes initiatives around cross-border payments, diversification of oil revenue streams, and incentives for foreign direct investment. These discussions signal that Iraq is no longer on the sidelines. It's stepping directly into the playing field of global finance. One of the main areas of focus in these conversations is banking modernization. The restructuring of Iraq's major state-run banks, particularly Rafadain and Rashid, is gaining momentum. Strategic partnerships with global financial institutions are taking shape, and new emphasis is being placed on digital payment solutions and fintech infrastructure. Recently, the Arab Monetary Fund made notable upgrades to its regional digital platform, yet another indication of tightening alignment across Middle Eastern economies. International financial institutions are also contributing heavily to Iraq's forward march. The IMF and World Bank are involved in technical training and advisory roles, guiding Iraq in key areas such as public finance reform, digitization of financial services, and tax regulation. Their participation is more than symbolic. It demonstrates global confidence in Iraq's restructuring efforts and lays the foundation for a more resilient and credible fiscal system. Adding to that, Iraq is also exploring advanced technologies as part of its transformation. Artificial intelligence is being integrated into various government systems, especially those involving financial oversight, data transparency, and cross-border automation. The objectives are clear: reduce bureaucratic waste, eliminate corruption at touchpoints, and open pathways to innovation and job creation, particularly for Iraq's large youth demographic. The Central Bank of Iraq is also advancing discussions around a digital version of the dinar, backed by improving international banking relationships and the growing establishment of correspondent accounts. A digital dinar could significantly improve the currency's utility in international trade and finance, especially in the context of rising interconnectivity between Gulf economies. This could give Iraq a needed technological leap. All of these efforts point to something more profound than day-to-day headlines. Iraq is laying the structural groundwork for a global economic comeback. The frameworks being designed now could directly impact the timing and credibility of any future exchange shift. So what does all of this mean for holders of the Iraqi dinar? It indicates that the preparatory stage is no longer theoretical. It's actively unfolding. Each policy shift, diplomatic meeting, and system overhaul is one more brick in the foundation. There is still no official announcement of a revaluation date or specific rate, but the indicators show clear direction. Iraq isn't just talking about reform, it's engineering it. Make no mistake, the Central Bank of Iraq won't pre-announce any revaluation event, nor will they drop clues before activation. However, when you look at the ongoing strategic adjustments, the regional collaborations, financial overhauls, and international technical support, it's evident that a major transformation is being orchestrated. With this landscape coming into focus, it's more important than ever for investors and currency watchers to separate noise from verified movement. The foundation for change is being built not in sudden announcements, but through consistent action. Policy reforms, international engagement, and digital readiness. These are not hypotheticals, they are tangible milestones in a process that's moving quietly but steadily toward a restructured and globally integrated Iraqi economy. Another key development that has caught international attention is Iraq's expanding ties with China. The partnership goes far beyond traditional trade agreements. It includes currency swaps, energy contracts denominated in non-dollar terms, and strategic infrastructure financing. By reducing dependency on the US dollar for certain transactions, Iraq is creating more flexibility in how it manages reserves and engages in foreign trade. This doesn't mean abandoning Western alliances. It means Iraq is diversifying its financial toolkit. Former President Trump's economic policies, particularly regarding oil pricing and currency leverage during his administration, still echo in today's landscape. Many analysts believe Iraq's recent financial engagements are partly shaped by the precedent of tighter currency and trade alignments formed during that period. The relationships built with Gulf neighbors under former President Trump's foreign policy framework have carried forward, offering Iraq some diplomatic continuity in its broader integration efforts. As these geopolitical and financial relationships evolve, there's also a growing spotlight on Iraq's internal banking sector. Recently, the Central Bank of Iraq issued new regulatory guidance to streamline bank licensing, increase capital reserves, and introduce anti-money laundering technologies. These aren't just formalities. They're prerequisites for any country seeking international credibility in its banking system. In addition to institutional reform, there's also been a significant push in the commercial banking space. Iraq is encouraging both local and foreign banks to adopt core banking systems that are compliant with global standards like ISO 2022. This shift enables seamless interaction with international SWIFT systems and aligns with protocols already used by top-tier banks around the world. It's a step that signals Iraq's intent to not just participate, but compete on the global financial stage. And then there's the people factor. Millions of Iraqi citizens who stand to benefit from modernization, employment, and global connectivity. Government-backed job training initiatives are now being coupled with digital wallet services and biometric banking platforms to help underbanked citizens engage with the modern financial system. These social programs are key to sustaining economic progress long-term and reducing inequality, which is often a roadblock to stability in emerging economies. Amid all of this, the exchange rate topic remains central for many outside Iraq. Let's be clear, no credible authority has announced a specific timeline or figure for a revaluation. However, analysts monitoring regional indicators and global capital flows have noticed telltale signs: increases in hard currency reserves, improved balance sheets for major Iraqi banks, and synchronized diplomatic visits with IMF and World Bank representatives. There is also growing speculation around how Iraq's currency policy may evolve in response to regional pressures, especially from Saudi Arabia and the UAE, both of which are pursuing aggressive digital finance initiatives. Iraq doesn't want to be left behind. That's why these cross-border collaborations, particularly those involving the Arab Monetary Fund's BUA platform, are being treated with urgency. For holders of the Iraqi dinar, the focus should remain on verifiable developments and long-term economic indicators, not short-term hype or speculative chatter. The biggest mistake many make is assuming that the revaluation will look like a lottery win with dramatic overnight gains. But the more realistic scenario involves a staged, policy-driven shift that rewards those who are well-informed and patient. And patience may be starting to pay off. There's increasing chatter about the possibility of Iraq opening formal exchange channels through correspondent banking arrangements with U.S. financial institutions. If such a move were to happen, it could signal a dramatic shift in how dinar exchanges are handled internationally. While no official word has been released, insiders suggest this possibility is not off the table. Further optimism stems from Iraq's improved compliance with FATF and Basel III standards. These financial safety measures are part of what allow countries to engage in broader monetary operations. Iraq's willingness to meet these benchmarks, even under political strain, speaks volumes about its future intentions. In fact, reports from inside Baghdad suggest that draft legislation tied to currency convertibility and financial openness is being quietly refined behind closed doors. These draft laws could play a major role in setting the legal stage for any shift in the dinar's global usability. Though these efforts are rarely publicized in mainstream media, they matter deeply to the broader process. So where does this leave us? It leaves us with a cautiously optimistic view. Iraq is demonstrating intent, taking technical steps, and aligning itself with global monetary frameworks. Every move, from AI integration to policy consultation with the IMF, adds up to something larger. It reflects a nation preparing to reposition itself not just as an oil exporter, but as a sovereign financial entity with serious international clout. As always, we caution our viewers to remain grounded. The journey to revaluation, should it happen, will likely not be a headline-driven event. Instead, it will unfold through a pattern of progress where consistency, reform, and credible partnerships form the basis of what's to come. The more we observe Iraq's financial evolution, the clearer that pattern becomes. Keep your focus where it counts, on the facts, not the fiction. The momentum building in Iraq's economic circles is the product of real work, not speculation. And if you've been holding dinar and wondering when or if your patience might be rewarded, the answer may not come with a bell and whistle. It may arrive with a quiet but historic shift in financial policy, one that changes Iraq's role in the global economy forever. Thank you for staying informed with Iraqi Dinar News. If you found this helpful, be sure to share it with fellow investors and those interested in global finance. Subscribe to stay ahead of the curve and leave us your thoughts. We're always listening to our growing community. Until next time, stay informed, stay measured, and above all, stay ready.